Even Honorable Osoro and Honorable Millie Odhiambo will lose, because it will mean you have either to reduce your NGCDF, your NGAF.
Majority Leader, that's a clever way of calling members to order.
Yes, Honorable Speaker, because I could hardly hear myself. You know, when Osoro speaks to Millie and Osoro speaks in a very animated manner, you get distracted. So I was calling them to order. But also to inform them that if we were to agree with the Senate, it would mean then that we reduce the amount of school capitation money that is going to pay school capitation to children. It would mean that the 9 billion shillings, the 8.94 billion shillings, that is being appropriated to take care of healthcare workers under UHC, then has to take a cut. Because if you increase the shareable revenue going to the counties by almost 35 billion, something somewhere has to give in. The Senate has proposed that the national government gives in. The national government share of revenue is what NGCDF shares from. It is what NGAF shares from. It is what the Ministry of Education shares from, to be able to have capitation in schools as children open schools, as happened this time. It is what we will give to the UHC workers. It is what will take care of the completion of projects. And honorable members, I was drawing your attention because remember, this is your last substantive budget in this parliament, this budget. Because the next budget that we will do in March, April next year will be implemented from 1st of July when you'll be out there campaigning. So if you have projects that you want to complete under the national government, this is the budget to complete. And I think I have communicated effectively in terms of what you want to do with these Senate amendments. And therefore, it is a proposal of the Budget and Appropriations Committee that we decline these amendments by the Senate to allow us to go into mediation and agree with our counterparts in the Senate that it would not be fair to reduce the national government share by 35 billion shillings. Then in the same spirit say, in case there is any shortfall in revenue, it is only the national government that can bear that shortfall in revenue. Honorable Speaker, we are living in very uncertain times. 6 months ago, we didn't know that there will be a war in the Gulf region. We never knew or imagined that anybody could close down the Strait of Hormuz, and we assumed things would move on normally. Today, we are confronted with a global crisis around the Strait of Hormuz and the war in the Middle East. The disruption that it comes with, Honorable Speaker, in terms of the trade routes in and out of the Middle East and connecting to other destinations in Europe, in Asia, the ramifications will be felt not just now, but even over the next many months, Honorable Speaker. And we do not know when this war will end. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, when we talk of a possible shortfall in revenue projections, it is a possibility. And if we say that that shortfall can only the national government can bear that possible shortfall, then it means in a few months down the line, we'll have a supplementary budget cutting more of the national government share and what we have budgeted to expend in the course of this financial year, Honorable Speaker. These are no ordinary times, Honorable Speaker, and these times call for leadership. And I speak about leadership, Honorable Speaker, I say that bearing in mind what the Honorable Junet was saying here. That if you are a true leader, if you desire to lead Kenya as a nation, as a president, if you have served in this house as a member of parliament for 15 years, 20 years, 30 years, you know what to do in times of crisis. Honorable Speaker, when we had the COVID pandemic 6 years or so ago, we all came together as a nation and took some very painful but necessary measures. We are confronted with such a time, Honorable Speaker, again, where we have to take painful measures, and I hope we'll have that opportunity when we debate the motion by the Honorable GK. Let me not get into that. But I really want to urge the House to agree with the Budget and Appropriations Committee that we decline the amendments by the Senate to allow the two houses time, together with the Council of Governors and CRA and the National Treasury, time to go through a process of mediation and finish with this bill as quickly as we can, because as you know, we cannot even be able to finish with the appropriation bill without finalizing with this. So the earlier we go into mediation, the better. With that, Honorable Speaker, I beg to move, and I want to request the Leader of Minority to second this proposal, Honorable Speaker, by the Budget and Appropriations Committee. I beg to move.
Mr. Speaker, I stand to second. And Mr. Speaker, I agree with the Majority Leader that we are at difficult times, because 6 months ago, as he said, no one knew that the world will turn to what it is today. And it was unforeseen, because that time we thought that things will be normal, there will be no war in the Middle East, the Strait of Hormuz will not be closed, and life will be as good as it were. But now that we are in a difficult time, Mr. Speaker, so it is prudent upon us to show leadership. And as you know, mediation is provided for in our standing orders. So, Mr. Speaker, there is no harm in having a mediation on this matter, so that the Senate and the National Assembly could sit and analyze this matter deeper, so that we look at the issues holistically and we look at the issues in accordance with what is happening in the world today, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, because of what's happening in the world today, the government had to do extra measures to cushion Kenyans from the excesses that has happened in terms of fuel prices. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to agree with the Majority Leader that we take this matter to mediation, so that we come up with an informed and a better and more in-depth decision than we took at the beginning of the year when we were doing, in the last session when we were doing the Division of Revenue Bill. So with those few remarks, Mr. Speaker, I second, and I urge members to support that, so that the mediation process also could be expedited, so that a report could be tabled in the houses as fast as possible, Mr. Speaker.
Members on their feet, take your seats. Kuroria, take your seat. Honorable members, I now propose the question at order number 15, which is that the Senate amendments to the Division of Revenue Bill, National Assembly Bill number 2 of 2026, be now considered. I see Ndindi Nyoro wants to speak.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this chance. And Honorable Speaker, I call upon all of us as members in the National Assembly, because clearly this issue is headed for mediation, that it is important that we also be considerate as the members of the National Assembly to also our county governments. Honorable Speaker, there is a rise in terms of the revenues of Kenya from last financial year to this current financial year, nominally to around 8 to 10% in terms of those revenues. Honorable Speaker, also in terms of the cumulative budget, we will now be considering a budget of around 4.8 trillion Kenya shillings, a figure we have never considered in this House before. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, my call is that we must support devolution and be seen to actually support it, because we have actually maintained the same amount we gave to our county governments, the shareable revenue of 420 billion Kenya shillings. Honorable Speaker, we are proposing to sustain the same. And I don't think that is fair, Honorable Speaker, and especially given that the inflationary pressures alone, we will be talking at around maybe over 5%, Honorable Speaker. It is important, Honorable Speaker, that as we consider these kind of matters, let us not personalize. When we personalize that we are giving this money to specific governors, we are likely, Honorable Speaker, to be subjective.
Yes, there's a point of order.
First, we have not yet even voted whether we are sending this matter to a mediation or not. You have not put the question yet. Number two, Mr. Speaker, I want to inform the House that it is this House that in the last financial year that increased revenue shareable revenue of the counties from 385 billion to 415 billion shillings, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker. It's on record, Mr. Speaker. We are the owners of devolution. We know how devolution works, and we want to support devolution. So that is why, we want to send, because it is the Senate that has given this figure. It's not the National Assembly. They have said that they want to increase this revenue to 454 billion. It doesn't mean that we have to agree with them in totality. We can decrease or we can increase in accordance with what is possible. But Mr. Speaker, let us not also use this as a political, let us not politicize this process. Yes, the majority leader can inform me as a distinguished former chair of the budget committee, not the one we removed.
Honorable Speaker, I wanted to inform the Honorable Junet that indeed the former chair of the Budget and Appropriations Committee, the Honorable Dindi Nyoro, stood in his place in this House when we were passing the shareable revenue last year and pretended that this is not the only amount that we are taking to the counties. And if I remember well, Honorable Dindi Nyoro was speaking about a figure of 476 billion. It's in the Hansard. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, in the same spirit, using Honorable Dindi Nyoro's words, I had just said when I was moving, there is some 8.94 billion that had been left out in the bill by both houses. And therefore, 420, the Honorable Dindi Nyoro is simply being intellectually dishonest because he knows. And there is no more dangerous thing than when those who ought to know better seek to misinform the country for political gain, Honorable Speaker. Because the Honorable Dindi Nyoro knows that 428 billion, as proposed, is not the only money that goes to counties. Two, Honorable Speaker, to remind Honorable Junet and to inform him that when we sat with him under the broad-based government arrangement, part of the 10-point agenda is to progressively move the shareable revenue to even beyond 450 billion. And we are on course, and we are working on that, Honorable Speaker. But we must also be reasonable as leaders, and that's why I said, Honorable Speaker, earlier, that this is such a time that calls for leadership, not political posturing. The easiest thing to do is to posture politically. That is why, Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Dindi Nyoro will purport to be writing to you to recall the House when he knows he cannot recall even the Murang'a County Assembly, leave alone the National Assembly. And it is good in the clerk's advice to the Honorable Dindi Nyoro, he informed him that even if you were to recall the House, Honorable Speaker, this House ideally would have sat today. Looking at the dates when he wrote the letter, if you are the leader of majority or the leader of minority, was it to recall the House would have sat today. The same day we are supposed to resume business. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, I don't want to call my brother dishonest, but political posturing is a very dangerous thing at a time when the nation calls for leadership.
Dindi? Oh. Then wind up your point of order.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, first I want to wind up by thanking the former chair of budget and the majority leader, Kachini, the majority leader, for informing me, Mr. Speaker, properly on issues that I think are important. Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, I want to say that Honorable Dindi Nyoro is talking about governors. We are not discussing here governors, which governor is going to get what and what. That will come in the other, in Dora. And the one that is Kara, the one that is coming from the Senate. Mr. Speaker, as the majority leader has affirmed here, we are on course as the broad-based government because we have increased the revenue shareable revenue from 318 to 415.
Order, Irene Mayaka, what you have done is not right. Go on.
Speaker, the covenant agreement between us in the broad-based government that is, one of them is to strengthen devolution. And Mr. Speaker, that is why in the last financial year we increased it by a whooping 30 billion shillings, Mr. Speaker, in one financial year. And as the majority has said, 420, what is being proposed now, is not the only money that is going to counties. We are going to make the staff, the workers who have been working for the counties now, permanent and pensionable in the new budget, Mr. Speaker. It's going to cost the government 9 billion again. There are conditional grants that are going to go to the counties, Mr. Speaker. In total, counties will get close to 500 billion shillings. Mr. Speaker, let Ndindi Nyoro not posture politically, let him wait for the mediation to happen.
Okay, point made. Ndindi Nyoro.
Honorable Speaker, I actually never needed to be informed and actually have no time for those frivolities and filibustering. And Honorable Speaker, it is important because they have brought up, even as I got to the conclusion, about bringing some frivolities about who needed to call what and to write which letter to the Speaker. Honorable Speaker, we need to be honest to the Kenyan people, face them honestly. Honorable Speaker, we now have a situation in this country where the government joined opposition and the opposition joined government, Honorable Speaker. That even as we listen here, the majority side and the minority side leadership, Honorable Speaker, are a choir singing the same song, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, in such a house of debate, there must be alternative voices, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, we are lying to ourselves, Honorable Speaker, and to the Kenyan people, that in this house there is a minority side and the majority side. There is none, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker,
yes.
As the House...
KJ.
Mr. Speaker, at the beginning of this session, you did do a communication to the House. And for the Honorable Member for Kiharu to call what the process is frivolity is in fact an insult to the House, an insult to yourself, an insult to the rules and procedures of this House, Mr. Speaker. There is no way the rules of this House can be frivolities, and I think it would be in order for my good friend, Honorable Ndindi Nyoro, to at least respect the House, if not the people in the House, by withdrawing what he has said, because these cannot be frivolities, Mr. Speaker.
Then they will you wind up?
Honorable Speaker, going back to the debate, I just call upon all of us, Honorable Speaker, to be honest to ourselves. We need our county governments to provision healthcare services. We need, Honorable Speaker, our county governments to provision all the devolved functions and give quality service to the same people we represent. Honorable Speaker, this cannot be done through politics. When we talk about substantive issues about money, Honorable Speaker, this is not about politics. And even if it's about politics and the Kenyan people benefit, so be it. Honorable Speaker, my take is this. There is 420 billion Kenya shillings on the table. And I needed no information from anyone to tell me that you'll also be debating the debate about conditional grants. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the motion on the table. And the motion is about shareable revenue. That we are sitting here, we have seen a climb in terms of an increase of budget in entirety. We are reading now a budget of 4.8 trillion Kenya shillings. But we come to this house and we want our county governments to still get the same money they got last year in a situation where inflationary pressures alone have taken real money out of their pockets, Honorable Speaker. We must debate on, respectively, Honorable Speaker, that yes, as we propose the 420 billion Kenya shillings, that even the Senate is entitled to ask for the 34 billion Kenya shillings. We must meet somewhere, Honorable Speaker, because this is not about that specific governor. It is about the Kenyan people. I submit, Honorable Speaker.
Yes, this I had advised the House that seeing what I see, this matter is headed to mediation. And if it is, that's what resolves the divergence of opinions between the two houses. And that being the case, you have an opportunity to deal with the mediated version when it comes. And this being the case also, once we pass this, order number 16 will collapse. So do we really need to flog this? No, the mover to be called upon to reply since there has been debate. 1 minute, mover.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, as I reply, Honorable Speaker, it is good to indicate, as you have rightly put it, that what is being said here is premature. And the leader of minority had aptly captured it. Because, Honorable Speaker, the 420 billion is what has been proposed. The mediation process is a give and take process. Doesn't mean that that is the end of it. The mediation process is when we come as leaders and agree that it is possible to increase from 420 not to 454. What is the reasonable figure? Yes. Honorable Speaker, anytime the leader of minority can inform me.
Mr. Speaker, I would like to inform the distinguished majority leader that, Mr. Speaker, last financial year, the same bill went for mediation. And when it went to mediation, the proposed amount to counties was 395 or 94. It is the mediation committee that recommended 400 and took it to 415 billion. I don't know why the member of parliament for Kiharu is jumping the gun and saying the House must have alternative voice, which he did not have 2 years ago. He had only one voice last year. Before he was removed as chairman of budget committee, he was only on one voice. Now he wants to take my job as the minority leader, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let him go and contest that small party of his, then he will become minority leader. He can't take my job.
Honorable Speaker, I am well informed that it is, and it's actually true, that we got to 420 out of a mediation process. And that is what we are inviting the House to do, to go through a mediation process where we will nominate very serious members of this House. Very serious members. Not members who walk in for 1 minute to come and make political statements, record on TikTok and circulate out there. Serious members who sit in committees, articulate issues, weigh issues, and come up with a decision that is good for devolution, that is good for this country, and for a time such as this when the nation calls for leadership. Finally, Honorable Speaker, frivolities, Honorable Speaker, is when an elected member of this House, knowing very well the provisions of our Standing Order 29 particularly, on the recall of the House, in engaging in frivolous activities, does a letter to the Speaker, knowing very well that he has no such powers. And before even the Speaker receives that letter in his office, the member, in his usual frivolous nature, has circulated that letter on social media, leaked it to media houses in this country to make the House look bad. I would dare say, shame on you. Shame on you. Because we have seen these things from a previous senator of Muranga. You do letters and sneak them to the media. If you write to the Speaker as a dignified member of this House, write to the Speaker, wait for the Speaker to reply to you, because the Speaker, as you indicated, Honorable Speaker, you directed the clerk to inform the member that in line with our standing orders, it is only the leader of minority who could do that, or the leader of majority. But more importantly, Honorable Speaker, was what was pointed out in your reply and your communication today, which I must say was not frivolous. You are reminding the member of Kiharu to read his standing orders. That even if you were to recall the House would have sat today. The same day the House was coming into session. I will invite the member for Kiharu to sit around this time, have the patience to listen to proposals by the distinguished member Fondia, the chair of the Transport and Infrastructure Committee, and another distinguished high-ranking member of this House, the Honorable Gekaria, who have sponsored that motion, and contribute to how we can move this country forward and leave alone political posturing for the sake of frivolous politics out there. We will have time to deal with your frivolous politics out there when the time comes. I beg to reply.
Honorable members, I'll now put the question at order number 15, which is that the Senate amendments to the Division of Revenue Bill, National Assembly Bill number 2 of 2026 be now considered. As members of that opinion say aye. Aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? Nay. The nays have it. Honorable members, that being the case, order number 16 exits from the order paper and dies there. Order, honorable member, take your seat. Honorable members, allow me to acknowledge in the public gallery Mutuma Secondary School from Gatundu, North Kiambu, Golden Angels Education from Embakasi East, Nairobi. In the Speaker's Gallery, we have Kiserian Girls School from Kajiado, North Kajiado. Kieni Girls High School from Runyenjes, Embu. And teachers from North Carolina State and team from North Carolina State University, USA. On my behalf and on behalf of the House, we welcome all of you, the students, their teachers, and those accompanying them, and the teachers from North Carolina to the House of Parliament. Honorable members, it's now 4:19. I had directed that we got this motion of adjournment at 4:15. We have exceeded by a few minutes. I now call upon the member from Ndia. Yes, Mwenje, what is it?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I don't want to take a lot of time because the fuel issue is a very big issue that is coming up, Honorable Speaker. And I think it's important we discuss it. But I was wondering, Honorable Speaker, at what point you'll allocate time to discuss a less important issue, but all the same important, because, Honorable Speaker, over the weekend, the Arsenal won the league for the first time in 22 years, Honorable Speaker. And you yourself, Honorable Speaker, are a supporter of the Arsenal team. And even the PMQs, including the minority leader, even the PMQs, Keir Starmer, Honorable Speaker, commended the Arsenal. And you are the only person, Honorable Speaker, in this House. In the last 22 years, nobody was here. It's just you when we last won the league. So I think it is a less important issue, but all the same, thousands of Kenyans poured in the streets to see the Arsenal take the league. So, Honorable Speaker, I just wanted to bring that issue. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Osoro, what is it?
Honorable Speaker, we are Kenyans.
Order.
Honorable Speaker, we are Kenyans, and we should be speaking about Shabana, Gor Mahia, and AFC. If we have to speak, and Kawangware United, if we have to speak about international games and EPL, let's talk about Manchester United. You cannot be discussing about us, Honorable Speaker. So,
yes, Junet.
Mr. Speaker, the world has realized and the world has come to terms that the biggest team in the world, the most formidable team in the world, Mr. Speaker, with the biggest following, supporters, Mr. Speaker, is none other than Arsenal, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, there is no team like Arsenal in this world, Mr. Speaker. There are no players like Arsenal players in the world, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, I want to say this in conclusion, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to say this in conclusion. For those who believe in Arsenal, and for those who support Arsenal, and for those who have faith in Arsenal, 30th is our day. When we are going to conquer the world, Mr. Speaker. 30th of this month, when we are going to conquer the world and win the championship, Mr. Speaker, and floor PSG, Mr. Speaker, 3-0, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Majority Leader.
Honorable Speaker, on a more serious note, Honorable Speaker, and without casting any aspersions, I thought the Honorable Mwenje would be considerate of all the other teams, Honorable Speaker, and not make this request when the Honorable Speaker is on the chair. Because the Honorable Speaker, I am not sure we can trust the Honorable Speaker on a matter touching on Arsenal. Therefore, I thought the Honorable Mwenje would be fair to at least wait for a time when the Honorable Speaker is not on the chair to make such a request for a debate on something to do with Arsenal, because the Honorable Speaker is a known is a known fan and great supporter of Arsenal. But Honorable Speaker, let me take this opportunity to congratulate Arsenal and congratulate all the other teams that play in the Premier League, and appreciate and thank the Honorable Mark Mwenje. Honorable Speaker, I happened to be in London with the Honorable Mark Mwenje, and we had a 9 a.m. meeting the day the day after the game. Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Mwenje could not speak in that meeting because he had lost his voice. He made his way to North London, to the Emirates Stadium, but I say I must thank him in a very special manner, because I have not been a fan of any of these teams, not Man U, not Arsenal, not Liverpool, not Chelsea. I have been a supporter of Homeboys FC in Gekambura village in Kikuyu. That thrashed Kawangware FC in their last game. But Honorable Speaker, my young daughter is an ardent supporter of Arsenal. And she has since recruited me into the Arsenal fans team. And I thank Honorable Mwenje, because the Honorable Mwenje offered. The Honorable Mwenje offered. The Honorable Mwenje offered to go and queue at the Emirates Stadium for almost 2 hours, and bought my daughter a jersey that has her name and number 7 on it. And when the Honorable Mwenje came back, I asked him, so how much is the jersey? That jersey, Honorable Speaker.
Number 7 is the jersey of Bukayo Saka.
Now, Honorable Speaker, if you had asked me, I would tell you number 7 is Mombi, because the jersey has the name Mombi, number 7. But what caught my attention, Honorable Speaker, as a business person, was when Honorable Mwenje told me that he had bought that jersey for about 160 pounds, translating to about 28,000 Kenya shillings. Now, Honorable Speaker, I looked at that business opportunity. Then when I saw the celebrations around Kencom over the weekend, I asked myself how I wish I knew I would have made those jerseys and sold them. But that tells you the power of sports. And the Honorable Mwenje, I would challenge you now to have a motion that will, or even a bill that speaks to how well we support our local teams, how we use our sports fund not just to develop infrastructure, but also to make sure that all our federations are properly run, and we keep politics out of our football and other sports federations, because sports, Honorable Speaker, is the next frontier of investments, Honorable Speaker, in terms of areas and spaces where people can make money. And with that, Honorable Speaker, congratulations to Arsenal, and thank you, Honorable Mwenje.
Yes, Millie.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It would be a tragedy if we hear Arsenal people speaking here and you have Manu in the house. Mr. Speaker, in my mother tongue, there is a saying that the Angotho Korgodera, when a cow dies in the home of the thin person, we will never stop hearing the last of it. So a cow has died in the home of the thin person, because they've never seen this a whole 22 years. Mr. Speaker, my husband is an Arsenal supporter. And I want to tell you that I thought for a long time that he had stopped being interested in soccer. Mr. Speaker, they have just been frustrated and depressed for 22 years. The man almost divorced me out of depression because they cannot handle defeat for 22 years. They should learn from Man U. This is the biggest team on earth. Mr. Speaker, but I also want to say that we need to remember that Gor Mahia, Kogalo, also won But let me tell you, Mr. Speaker, even though we may be saying this on a light note, but if there is one thing you can observe, is that sport has a way of uniting people. There are people who are not friends of Baba, and Baba was an Arsenal supporter, but they are all there in Arsenal, and they were putting all the photos of Baba across and sharing all over. So let us actually strengthen our sports and our games, especially the local ones, so that we can also have our sons and daughters celebrated the way these Odera people were celebrating themselves like Unite. They've not seen this thing for let them talk to us. Us, it's only 14 years.
Really?
But we are coming next time. Mr. Speaker, you should not rule me because you are biased.
Merely in 2 minutes, you have betrayed two people, your husband and Baba. Yes, KJ.
Mr. Speaker, I carefully hesitate to ask you to declare your interest in this matter, knowing full well, Mr. Speaker, that there is a distinction between the Honorable Moses Masika Wetangula and the Speaker of this House. And I want to imagine that the Speaker of this House ought to be neutral, Mr. Speaker, as we discuss some of these matters, Mr. Speaker. And the bigger point,
Declare your interest. Which team do you
Mr.
support?
Speaker, I am a big fan of Kawangware United from Dagoretti South constituency that plays at Reruta BP Stadium, Mr. Speaker. And I think the bigger point would be for the Honorable Mwenje to look for opportunity in this house for us to be able to promote sports so that if we are big fans of Arsenal or Man U in Manchester United, we can get an opportunity for them to do an exhibition match in this country, in the new Talanta Stadium, Mr. Speaker. In that way, these teams would be encouraging youthful Kenyans, because we know that there are countries like Rwanda that invest very early in their talent, so that even 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds are already out there in these international academies getting ready for a World Cup tournament, Mr. Speaker. And I do think that our biggest joy as a country would be when our teams would be as big as the teams that are being discussed. But Mr. Speaker, I must declare my interest that Manchester United, the great Manchester United, is my team of, is the team that I support,
Members,
Mr.
we
Speaker.
leave it
The
there.
great team that even remembers when they last won this Premier League, not teams that won this Premier League last when some children who are already adults, grown-ups, were not even born, Mr. Speaker. And they have just won this Premier League by fluke, Mr. Speaker, and we know the real champions shall be claiming their place
Honorable
in the next
KJ.
year's tournament. Thank you very much.
The Holy Book, the Bible, tells us that salvation is not judged by longevity. It's judged at the moment it happens. And Mwenje is damn right. Arsenal won the league. They are the champions. And they'll win. And they'll win Champions League. Order. Let's not spend too much of our time discussing Man U, a team that was nearly relegated last season. We'll now invite. Yes, Irene Mayaka, what is it? On the same issue?
Yes, Honorable Speaker, you know I'm known in this house as the champion of local soccer. And just as Honorable Millie said, in as much as we understand that no Arsenal fan has been able to actually say congratulations to their team since the inception of social media, because that's the last time they won. But also, Honorable Speaker, Gor Mahia has won 22 record titles. So we also need to acknowledge them for that. And Honorable Speaker, just to the point that Honorable Ishungwa said about us supporting and championing for bills and legislations that are actually supporting sports in this country, is to say that I am looking forward to this House supporting my criminalizing match fixing bill that is soon coming to the House, so that we continue supporting soccer in this country. And finally, Honorable Speaker, the Harambee Starlets have a game against Uganda on Saturday. that when they win this game, they will be participating in the World Cup for the women football. So I'm urging all the members of this house to come on Saturday to Lindsay Sports Complex so that you can also support our girls to win.
Wanjala? Wanjala? Give Wanjala the mic.
Honorable Speaker, the people of Budalangi were all on the streets, Honorable Speaker. I didn't know that they were all supporting Arsenal. Mr. Speaker, they even raised money to have fun and Siangiri Bar and other bars in Budalangi. Mr. Speaker, I've been in a shop right now. I went to buy an Arsenal attire. Mr. Speaker, the line that is there, the shop is full and the shop is called East-West Sportswear on Moi Avenue. Honorable Speaker, Arsenal is the team to watch, and Saturday we are prepared, Mr. Speaker, all of us to cheer Arsenal as it wins the next month. Thank you, Honorable.
Thank you. Let's end it there. Order. Mwenje, you are so right. Arsenal brought 1 million Nairobians to the streets of Nairobi to celebrate their victory. GK, my interest merely is the most poorly guarded secret. My support for Arsenal.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I rise to move that this House do now adjourn under Standing Order 33-1 to discuss a definite matter of urgent national importance, namely the persistent increase in fuel prices and its far-reaching effects on the transport sector, cost of living, and economic productivity across the Republic of Kenya. Honorable Speaker, much as we know that fuel prices are determined by issues beyond our control, especially now that we've had a war in the Gulf region, what we refer to as external shocks. Honorable Speaker, we must, as a House, reason together and see how we can mitigate the effects of these prices. Honorable Speaker, one of the areas which I think we must address is investment in EV vehicles. And I know we would want to reduce import prices or import tax for electric vehicles, but I would be happier if we invested in manufacturing of those vehicles here in the country so that we can create job opportunities for our young people. Two, Honorable Speaker, we need to invest in bus rapid transport corridors and commuter railway capacity so that the prices don't hit us as hard as we have experienced. And Honorable Speaker, the third thing that I believe we need to do to address the shocks is